bad. There are times where I don't feel guilty about it, but if I choose on a frequent basis, and that's why I continue to choose day after day, then I will definitely get into a cycle where I just feel like, man, I'm not happy.
Yeah. On one hand, like, too much stress about like the time that we have or we don't have, and like getting really into how we use it, like, counting out the minutes. Like, I don't think that's like not that you're doing that, but is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Like we can trust God with our time, especially if we are in like a place that we think He wants us, like whether it's school or work, spending time with a friend, you know what I mean? Like, you just let Him handle the small details, and you do your best to do things joyfully and have peace about whatever it is you're doing. But then, like, yeah, you say like watching TV, it can leave you feeling empty. I mean, yeah, I can relate. You know what I mean? Like, I can see why it would. It is easy, and a lot of the time, it's not very deep. You know what I mean? It's not very satisfying to the
Yeah.
to the human soul. You know what I mean? And of course, God is what fulfills us. But even with our leisure, there are deeper things. You know what I mean? Whether reading Thomas Aquinas is great, but there's nothing wrong with the Lord of the Rings either. I mean, it it may be like a fantasy series, but it really is very deep book. I mean, when you go into like the way Tolkien viewed his world and the some of the sacramental stuff in there, or the way that the what is it, the priest, king, and prophet is played out in
Oh yeah, yeah.
Aragorn, Frodo, and Gandalf,
Yeah.
and the different things in there, and then also like stories, like there is kind of like it might be secular in some respect, but there is like a healing power that comes from like reading good stories. You know what I mean? Like I
Oh
remember
yeah,
I was
yeah.
going through like a period of desolation. I was listening to Fellowship of the Ring on audiobook, and like it really helped me. You know what I mean? I was like, like that was great. Like really helped me with like
Oh man, that's
so
so beautiful.
I think like this, and in this case, I got to bring up like what I said about spirituality earlier. Everything, everybody's different. Not everybody's like um going to be able to get anything out of reading Lord of the Rings. Some people might like woodworking or playing sports or painting or weaving or knitting, whatever it may be. I'm just a nerd, and so I like
Yeah,
literature and philosophy and so forth. So
yeah, I understand. Yeah, we have a lot in common. But oh my gosh, I love fantasy so much. And like what you're saying about people, not everybody's the same. Yeah, it's so true because one of the guys I'm gonna have on the podcast, he hates fantasy so much. With a vivid passion, he hates fantasy. But I love it. I mean, yeah, having a wonderful like world building thing. Yeah, this story that just kind of brings you out and like draws you into this epic story that's genuinely interesting and has a like thought put behind it. It's wonderful. I love it. Um, yeah, it's one of the reasons why I'm very poorly attempting to write a some fantasy of my own. But man, that's really good. That's really good stuff.
yeah, and, what you were saying about Aquinas being difficult while you were first sitting there, like reading a book or woodworking or playing sports is like it's hard when you start, right? You don't know what you're doing. You got to like really think through, whether you're like practicing shooting, you got to like, I mean, I don't know, I'm not a basketball player. I assume you have to like think about your form, and like you have to really be very intentional about what you're doing,
That's
uh,
funny. You said
whatever.
you said practicing shooting, and I'm from like deep south, so I was like, oh yeah, practicing shooting. And you said basketball. I was like, oh, you didn't mean a tin can.
Okay, but similarly, you know what I mean? Somebody that's been like shooting guns all their life, you know what I mean? They don't have to think about all the little minutia that it is so difficult for a beginner to get, you know what I mean? So probably, it's the same thing with Aquinas, like like a philosopher that's been studying Aquinas all his life, like he's able to enjoy and get something out of it that you aren't able to. Nothing against you, you aren't able to. You know what I mean? Similarly, like somebody that's into literature, they're going to be able to get something out of it that a person that is just picking up, like, I don't know, snap, like, I don't know, like a kid's book for the first time. A kid, right? Whatever it may be. So there's like a subjective aspect where we have to train ourselves to enjoy these kind of things and understand them. And like you said, you had to start thinking about what you're reading, and I assume you enjoyed that, right? There's something like pleasurable about learning new things a lot of the time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there is there's like a difficult a part too, where you have to continue doing it even when it's not. And um, yeah, I don't know. What do you
Man,
think?
no. Yeah, sorry, you mentioned something which is like I assume you enjoy like thinking about these things. Yeah, I like things that make my brain hurt. I'm just a special person. Um because that's one of the things I love about Aquinas is like literally sometimes he gives me a headache and I'm just like, what do you mean? This is so complicated. Um but yeah. No, there's a lot. Yeah, that's really interesting. I really like what you say. Like, there's a bunch of minutia that's difficult in the beginning. That when you're a pro at something, that you don't even necessarily think about it. Like, yeah, you need to practice. You need to keep yourself honed in. But a lot of the small things that were like once hiccups for you, they kind of fade away, and you're able to more freely pursue the thing um, that you enjoy doing. So
Yeah.
that's good. I like that. And I like you bringing in a bunch of other stuff like woodworking because I'm also very hands on. I like doing stuff. As far as when it comes to like uh, something like building or like woodworking or pottery. Love pottery. Painting, I'm not so big on. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's just like if it's like an actual like activity, I really enjoy it because I could just kind of turn off my mind and just more so experience what I'm doing more so than having to be so cerebral about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that like a master woodworker, like, um, dang, it's like a painter. You know what I mean? Like that somebody that's beginning in painting has to think a lot about what they're about to do. But a master painter might be able to just freely go at it, like really let like the the kind of creative part of him, you know what I mean? The inspiration just kind of like flow out. He's so trained himself. He's mastered his art, like, so well that he has a lot of freedom to create things that he wants on the canvas. So I'm sure it's similar to a woodworker, you know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
they have a lot of freedom to do, and that's the enjoyable part of a craft or an art. It's not learning all the little minutia, like with Thomas Aquinas, it's not learning what every scholastic term means, you know what I mean? And like all the jargon, that's like the painful part. But the good part that you enjoy and that you want to do comes when you've mastered all that and you have a certain freedom to understand Aquinas or make furniture or make art or whatever it may be. Read books. Yeah.
and all this comes back to the reading books. Man, that's really good, man. That's really good. I love our conversations. Uh,
Yeah,
so, oh, sorry,
go
you
ahead.
you go. No, you go. You're the guest.
No, you go.
So now we're gonna spend the next 10 minutes seeing who's more stubborn.
Southern
uh,
hospitality plus being Catholic.
equals passive aggressive. Oh man, you know what? I really, yeah. I really don't have much to say. Uh, I just think I want to hear your thoughts on something, but I want you to first say what you're gonna say before we go to a different topic.
I don't really remember. Yeah, let's move to the other topic.
Awesome. Unfortunate because I don't remember the thing I was going to ask you anyway. But the other topic I do know I want to go to. But so this all began like we're talking about like prayer, we're talking about leisure, and we got off like the different topics of just like, hey, leisure can be hard.